Hi, my name is Karen McElmurray, and I'd like to welcome you today to my home in Catonsville, Maryland, and to my study. I'm going to read today a little bit from my new novel, Wanting Radiance, which is just out this spring from University Press of Kentucky. I want to read a bit of the prologue of the novel. It's in the point of view of a woman named Miracel Loving. She is looking back to a time when she was about 15, almost 16 years old. And she is with, this night, her mother, Ruby Loving, who is a fortune teller. 7 o'clock, 8, and coal trucks shifted gears, headed past. I thought about how some nights it was women who came to our door, wanting to see how it felt to sit across a table from somebody with hands as wise as Ruby's. Her eyes were full of love affairs and the foreign places they believed she'd seen, but they were afraid of my mother's hands, and they ought to have been, the things she knew. Men weren't afraid at all. When my mother sat across from them, their faces hard, I knew they were ready to take what she had, whether she knew their futures or not. They thought they knew exactly what my mother was, a traveling woman with her strange hands and her fortunes. False prophets and liars, every one of them, Ruby said. When my mother told their futures, she looked straight at them, knowing more than they ever would. By 10 o'clock, there was far-off thunder, and from the trees at the back of the trailer came whippoorwills, the scratch of June bugs. Somewhere a dog howled, high-pitched and restless, and a car door slammed as I hurried to the window. Out by the road, a tall shadow stood, cupped a hand around a match's flame. "Who's out there?" I asked. Ruby turned her head to the outside sounds, waved me out. "I need to be alone for a spell," she said. "Go on now." I went, just to the chair beneath the mulberry tree where I could see the kitchen window, her shadow moving from stove to table. Feet kicked gravel as someone made their way around the trailer. The back door slammed, and I thought I heard the small sound of glasses clinking down. The only thing I really know about that night is what I still imagine. Her scarf sliding off, her hair falling as she moved. "Dance with me," the record going full blast, and Ruby reciting love charms. 3 silver spoons of brandy wine, and you shall be mine. Behind the curtains, shadow selves leaning toward one another. For years I would think of her hands held out, a card balanced there. In my imaginings, that card is the lover's, and I see my mother's face, the smile there. "See the card I drew for you?" Then the shadow stood in front of Ruby, reached for her. How many nights I'd seen her want just that. Hold me in the morning, hold me at night. A record playing and playing. Hold me, hold me. Their voices crossed as lightning streaked the sky. I pulled my knees into my arms and wanted the storm to start, wished the world would be cool and fine. But it was only heat, and it flashed and quit. The truth is, I remember some things and nothing at all from that night. I remember boots running out the back door as my own feet carried me inside. I remember a floor strewn with glass, paper torn from my mother's notebook, gone missing as hard as I looked. I remember touching my mother, the place on her throat where a pulse would be. Her skin was still so warm. From where and who I am now, I want to reach back and tell the truth, Ruby's and my own from all the years since. I want to tell them about lovers who are only parts of themselves. One man, nothing but a boy, who loved music so loud it hid our voices. Another man, nothing but the feel of a rough face against my own face. How raw the heart can feel. Men and years passing, and myself slipping through the spaces of years like they were a left open door I was never brave enough to shut. Most days I no longer know who it is I'm describing and to whom. Whose future is it that I am now living? Or am I only myself now, a woman who long ago learned how not to love? The room was full of her blood scent and that song. Hold me, Radiance, honey, hold me. A needle scratched, the song played down, and as I knelt beside her, she bled from the chest, and I wondered at it, how small the hole was, how to tell it the way a body bleeds from a wound and forever. I held her, my ear next to her mouth, and listened. Sweet girl, she said as I hushed her, made her promise not to die. How cool her fingers were, cold as rain. What I remember forever was the sound of her breathing and love taken for good from the underside of my heart.